Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Great Gamers Award for the 2017 year. We've had a few wonderful months deciding who would be elected amongst the top best players and ambassadors for the esports scene of the past 12 months. It's been an amazing run. My name is James, and today I am with two wonderful people here who have joined us for this ceremony. I'm with Jeff Hungunganye, who is a YouTube creator, streamer, and FPS connoisseur, but also our jury member for the entertainer category. Jeff, how are you today?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here, and otherwise everything's been great. It's the first time in Cannes, I must say. It's a bit rainy, otherwise everything's perfect so far.
Awesome. I'm also with Igor Lis, who is the founder and he runs this whole ship here at Great Gamers. Igor, can you tell us a bit about the history of Great Gamers, where this project comes from and how it has evolved?
Yeah, absolutely, James. First of all, I'm really excited to be here in Cannes at the Festival of Games, in this Palace of Festival in Cannes. It's really amazing. It doesn't rain in the theater, so it's really cool. So Great Gamers project comes from the one idea that a lot of people talk about esports like being a huge industry, and we think that it is a huge industry, but it's also a huge amount of people who are great people and they're great gamers. And I think there is a lack of projects that are player focused. And so we've decided to make a project that's focused on players, both casual players and esports enthusiasts. We have a platform called gamers.online where people can read esports news and write also esports news from their local news or global. And also we have this award because we want to give the players the glory and the recognition of the real athletes. You know, it's the Olympic Games are closing today.
Yeah.
And I think that gamers deserve a kind of a recognition that the Olympic athletes have. And so we are trying to build that. And it's the first year, the very first try of Great Gamers Awards.
Tell us a bit briefly of the nomination, voting, selection process that is around here, because we tried to build something that was as basic and as comprehensive as possible, giving both jury members and the audience a possibility of weighing in. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we want to be basic, comprehensive, and legitimate. So what we've done is that we've contacted esports key names and big names of industry, so they can help us nominate 10 people in each of the 5 categories, which are MOBA, FPS, RDS, sports, and entertainer. And then out of these 10 nominees, the public, through our platform, gamers.online, voted for the 4 finalists, among which the jury has selected, once again, the winner by category.
So briefly, the jury members for the different categories, you mentioned that they are ambassadors and they're real players in each of their categories. We've got Jeff, who despite being specialized FPS, decided or agreed to take on the entertainer category, which might be one of the hardest ones, actually, in my opinion, because it requires you to find out so much about so many games that you don't necessarily know very well. So briefly, before we come back to you, Jeff, Igor, can you tell us about the other jury members? We have 4 other jury members who are all around the world right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really successful in negotiating with the really industry's top people from the very first year, which is very impressive for our team. So apart Jeff here present, we have Sami Urfeli for MOBA category. Sami is the head of ESL France. ESL is the leading world's organizer of tournaments and esports events. We have Stephanie Miss Harvey, who is an amazing person, and she's a 5-time CSGO champion and an ambassador of esports and one of the biggest that exists in the world. We have Daigo the Beast Umehara for sports category. I don't know if for any esports enthusiast, this guy doesn't need to be presented.
If you're into Street Fighter games, if you're into versus fighting games, then you definitely have heard of Daigo. He's won so many tournaments, and he was very kind enough to help us out in our first year.
They call him the god of fighting games in Japan. I would not be able to pronounce that in Japanese, but this is how they call him for real.
And for the RTS category,
yeah, we have Kevin Harsem de Koning, who is an amazing guy, and he's one of the top players, one of the top 10 StarCraft players in the European scene. It's probably one of the most impressive RTS guys there is, and so he has a kind of legitimacy to nominate other people, I think, and he's really good, and he agreed to help us with that. We will talk about that later.
So we decided to ask all our jury members to elect 10 nominees for the voting process to take place. Jeff, as the entertainer category, I know you probably would have preferred having the FPS category, but you were stuck with the entertainer category, and how was that process for you?
It wasn't that hard to choose, but I must say, like, the question was, what did they bring to esport if they brought something? And I had to choose who will be the ambassadors of esport, who will help esport to grow and to gain a bit of popularity. And in that sense, entertainers are easy to choose. You got some people like Shroud, who used to be pros before, now switch to streaming. They become influencers instead of pro players. And a lot of people get interest in them, and they want to find out what they were doing before. Turns out they were doing esport. Oh, wow, cool. Well, I'm going to learn more about esport. That seems to be a thing. So it's, of course, as an FPS guy, entertainer isn't the easiest scope of skills I have, but still, that was very interesting to do anyway.
Now, we've been watching the evolution of the esports scene for a long time now. You've been very close as an FPS player to many of these players. How would you categorize, or how would you explain the evolution that we're seeing today in this year and in the past 2 years that has been exponential in the esports scene?
Yeah, the thing is, like, esport isn't just like a regular sport on the side. Like, there's so many different kind of games. You can play MOBA, FPSs, which is what we are doing here today. The thing is about esport, I always believe that my children, and maybe yours, they're going to watch esport on television, where my parents are watching soccer or, I don't know, football, but the point is, my kids are going to watch esport on television, and it's getting more and more obvious that it's going to happen because it's growing, and everybody's getting interested into esport nowadays. So it's just the way it goes, pretty much.
Fair enough. And for both of you guys, this is the first year we're here in Cannes, France, and we've actually got a lot of French people taking part, French nominees, French players. We can see, we're lucky enough that France actually has a very strong position on the international esports scene. Many players are around the globe playing, French players playing for many different teams. How do you see France as being possibly one of the main stakeholders of the esports scene?
Well, I think it's difficult to say because it depends like what the esports is generally, because main stakeholder in esports, for me it's a complicated thing. I think definitely France has a lot of advantages. I mean, like just geographical advantage. The fact that we're here in Cannes, you know, not any other country doesn't have Cannes, you know, so we do, and we're here. And it's amazing that we're supported by actually the Cannes mayor, which shows the implication of the French government support for esports, which I think is another very important factor, that it's recognized as something really strategically important. And as Jeff said, that his kid's gonna watch esports, the kids of our government guys gonna watch esports as well. So everybody's trying to take his share. I think France doesn't have, like, I would not say that we have more good players than any other country. I mean, like, it depends. It's in some games, yes. In others, you know, we will see the nominees from which countries they come from. So I don't know. For me, it's a difficult question. I think if we, as a French initiative, it's our job to put France in the center of esports, and that's what we're trying kind of to do. To say to the people from all over the world, like, guys, GreatGamers is a French initiative, but it's for everyone. So
yeah,
France is like a capital. Yeah.
Okay, so very briefly, Jeff, do you have anything you want to add on that subject?
I think he said everything pretty much.
Okay, awesome. Well, guys, we are ready to move on to our first category here, which is going to be the MOBA category. We've got many, many MOBA players all around the globe. It's one of the most popular categories out there nowadays, apart from maybe PUBG, PUBG, which is growing. But MOBA, and for that, we have Sami Warfeli, who is our main jury. Now, you mentioned Sami previously. Can you tell us a bit more about him?
Well, Sami is a cool guy. He's managing ESL France. He's one of in the managing board of ESL Global, and he's one of the persons who actually, you ask about esports in France, he's one of the persons who actually drive esports in France. And he's managing the biggest esports studio in France that does the promotion of esports to the mass public and to among esports enthusiasts. It was quite easy to convince Sami to participate in our jury because he understood the need of the industry for such a project that actually awards gamers, not teams, not brands, not games, but gamers and people. So he was actually the first one to support us, and I think it's an important factor in the fact that the project has went all this road, that people like Sami, who are actually the pillars of the industry of European esports, are with us from the beginning.
Okay, well, let's find out, or let's discover once more, because we've seen them already, but let's discover once more the 10 nominees that Sami chose for us, as well as the 4 people that you guys voted for online. So for the MOBA category, here are your 10 nominees for this category from Sami, and the 4 that you guys voted for online are the following. We have Dendi, Sven, Bjergsen and Hans Sommer. Hans Sommer is of course French, let's remind us once more. Now Dendi, as we know, is a pro player for Dota 2, and he's actually the only Dota 2 player in this list. He's currently playing for Natus Vincere, and he's regarded as one of the most creative players of that scene. Following up, Sven is a player for Team Solo Mid, and he actually has a record, LCS record, of having the most minion kills or creep kills in one game, which is of 946. He's had an incredibly strong season carrying his team and definitely deserves to be up there. Following him is Bjergsen for Team Solo Mid, who is recognized as being possibly one of the most intensely mechanically skilled players out there. Again, Bjergsen is uncontested up here in the top 4. And finally, Hans Sommer from Team Misfits has had an incredible 2017 season with his team, gaining many, many medals and top 4, top 3 positions, including several top first positions out there. So definitely 4 players who deserve to be up there. Let's find out what Sammy has to say in a quick message.
Hello everybody, I'm Samy Wafeli from ESL France, a 20 years gamer and a member of the industry, and I'm here to congratulate the nominated that are Sven, Dendi, Hans Sama and Bjergsen, all of them famous MOBA player in respectively League of Legends and Dota 2. I apologize for not being here, but as you probably know, there is a little event in Poland called Katowice, which is right now the flagship of the industry, where a lot of the stakeholders gather, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I have to be there and can't be among you guys. I'm pretty proud of having been able to help GreatGamers to launch this ceremony. I contributed with my small milestone by reaching out with my contacts, and I can see that from a small discussion in a cafe in Paris, it led to an awesome event where I'm sure we'll see a lot of awesome things, and I'm pretty sure that this event will scale up for next year. These kind of initiatives shows the dynamism and the growth of the ecosystem, and are, I think, both mandatory and expected for the further year. And if we stick just to one ecosystem I know the best, which is France, was switched last year from 6 big events to up to 10 in 2018, and this was just normal that GreatGamers will held here in Cannes, just to show the world that the French are definitely the best to hold these kind of ceremonies.
Thanks a lot, Sammy. Indeed, we are here now with our 4 nominees. Now, to remind you guys how this process took place, we asked Sammy and our other jury members to nominate 10 people for each of their categories, so 50 nominees total. You guys then had a few months, a few weeks out there to be able to vote amongst those 50, amongst the 10 per category for 4 players for each of those categories. And those 4 players were then submitted once more, one final time to the judges, to our jury members, to be able to find that one special person, that one winner for each of our categories. So for the first category tonight, let's discover who goes home, or who has taken away the position of Gamer of this category. Gamer MOBA 2017. Let's see who it is. And for the MOBA category, GreatGamers 2017, the winner is Dendi. So well done, Dendi, to you. We did reach out to many of our players here, and we have got his reaction on video. Let's watch what Dendi has to say to us.
I won! Thank you guys, thank you everyone who voted for me. Thank you to my fans, thank you to my family, thank you to my friends. I'm really happy. I'm glad I'm living at a time when esport is growing with huge steps. I love competition, I hope you love too. So enjoy your time over there, and what time is it? It's practice time!
Indeed, it is practice time for Dendi, and it's time for us to move back towards our guests to see what they have to say about that. So, guys, Dendi seems like a very natural choice. He's been incredibly strong in the year 2017, and he is now our gamer, our top player for this category, this MOBA category. Any comments on that?
Well, natural choice, it's difficult to say. I mean, like, all the 4 guys were really amazing. They're all really cool. As you said, one of them is like one of the most skilled, physically skilled players. The other one has the minion kills record. Danny is for me, I think it's really cool that he won because he's definitely one of the best players of his generation whatsoever. He's been showing a stable record of wins, and he's even at some point, a lot of people were saying, okay, now like he has reached his limit, but he did not. He just goes further, and I think it's the recognition of that is this award. And one thing is that also he plays Dota 2. It's a game that mostly played in Russia, United States, and China. Not really known much and not really played much here in France and Western Europe, but he plays it so well that he could win the public vote with his skills that are compared even to absolutely amazing League of Legends players. I think this is really cool.
Okay, well, we'll be moving on to the FPS category now, which is a category that I'm sure you are much more suitable, happy with, or comfortable with, as you yourself are an FPS streamer, even if you're not here for that. Now, we will see very shortly the 10 nominees from our jury member for that category, Stephanie Harvey. But before that, as a player yourself, how hard would it be for you to choose 10 nominees out of the FPS scene?
For the whole FPS scene will be actually extremely hard. We've got some players that just blew up in like 1 year or 2 years from Brazilians. SK Gaming that just became rock stars pretty much in Brazil. So Miss Harvey did have the easiest job in the way she had to find CSGO or FPS related players, but she also had to pick between those who stands out from the others. So all in all, it wasn't that easy, I would say.
Okay, well, we've heard that Stephanie Harvey has got 10. We know that she's got 10 nominees first. Can you tell us more about Stephanie before we actually start seeing these nominees?
Well, I would like just to give a small correction to Jeff, because she definitely chose from CSGO and Call of Duty, but they're also Overwatch players and PUBG players, also the FPS.
And Halo,
and all the
as well, and many other games. That's the difficulty here.
But Stephanie is the person that was capable of doing this job because she knows this scene so well. She's one of probably the best female player there is, a 5 times CSGO champion, and an amazing person. She's an ambassador to so many esports values that are also the values of GreatGamers, the sportsmanship, the respect. We were really lucky with her because having this scale of a person of the very first year of any sports project is a huge honor. And we are honored that Miss Harvey was with us and she believed in the values that we were trying to communicate through GreatGamers. And I think what she's done, the choices that she made, I'm mostly a MOBA player. I can talk about what Sami chose, and it's difficult for me to comment on what Miss Harvey chose. But I think that the choice was really good, and we got a lot of very, very interesting vote competitions on our platform, and we're going to see what she has to say about that.
Indeed. Let's watch right now the presentation for the 10 nominees that she chose for us, that Stephanie chose for us, as well as your vote for the top 4 out of those 10. Let's watch that. Here are your 10 nominees for the FPS category, and any second now will appear the 4 that have been chosen through the public vote, and these 4 are indeed Nico, Fallen, Shroud, and Cold Zero. We know Nico as being from FaZe Clan. He has an incredible aim and game sense, and with those he has won countless tournaments during the year, followed by Fallen, as Jeff was saying, from SK Gaming, and he has won the ESL Pro League Season 6, to give you one example, the IEMs in Sydney, as well as the ESL 1 in Cologne this year, followed by Shroud. Cloud9 has been an incredibly strong team, and Shroud, a very, very strong player within that team. He's not a totally 100% player, as he's one of their backup players and is turning more towards streaming, but remains incredibly influential overall throughout the year, and that is why he definitely deserved this public vote up here today. And finally, Cold Zero, once more from SK Gaming, and Cold Zero has had he's got basically an unmatched and incredibly consistent play, as well as fragging throughout the season, and he has proven time and time again that he deserves as well to be up here today. We have got a small message from Miss Harvey telling us a bit about her decision process. Let's watch that right now.
Hey guys, my name is Miss Sarvi, and I'm a Great Gamers Award jury member in the FPS category. I'm sorry I could not be there today. I had other obligations, but I wanted to make sure I left you guys a little message, talking a little bit about the nominees as well as the esports world. I'm a little bit sick as well, that's why I'm talking with my nose. But first of all, let's talk about the nominees. I was in charge of the FPS category, and together with two other jury members, Rainforest and Lemon Kiwi, we chose the nominees for the FPS category. I allied myself with these two awesome esports members because I needed a little bit more help, especially in the Overwatch category. To make sure that I've covered all of FPS across the world. So out of the 10 FPS nominees, we were able to choose people from diverse games and also diverse backgrounds, which was people from Halo, which was people from Call of Duty, as well as Overwatch, Counter-Strike, and we even jumped into the Battle Royale scene with some of the PUBG people. Unfortunately, we were not able to get that much diversity in the FPS category. Although I'm a woman, we didn't pick any girl in our category, which is something that obviously I'm really it's something that's really important for me. And unfortunately, we're not able to find a nominee that fit the criteria for this category. The only women of all the Great Gamers Award are in the people category. They are great women. Honestly, they deserve their spot in there. But it's something that I would like to see in I would say near future, at least for women to be able to compete versus the guys at a top level to be able to be in these specific categories, whether it's FPS, MOBA, and stuff like that. I know that there are really good women out there, and hopefully one day they'll burst into the top of the esports, because I do believe that it should be 50-50 at the top, 50% male and women at the top. Unfortunately, that's not how the landscape is, but slowly by slowly we're trying to make a difference, and I want to thank every single woman out there who's trying to make a difference and fighting for a spot within the best of the esports world. Esports is still a new medium, and hopefully it's going to keep growing. And keep getting as amazing as it is, even bigger and brighter things are to come for our pro athletes, our cyber athletes. I don't think the debate has to be or is supposed to be, is it a sport or not? I think what's important is we have our own community, our own values, and we stay true to them, and hopefully we grow together to make it a safer and better place. Thank you so much for the Great Gamer Award members to have selected me on this jury. It's an honor to be able to choose the best FPS players around the world, and I hope that you liked our top 10. Congratulations to all the nominees, and especially congratulations to the winner. And hopefully next time I can be in Cannes. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Stephanie. Indeed, those 10 nominees became 4 after you guys voted for them on the platform online, gamers.online, where you can also contribute with articles and news, or just come and enjoy the articles that are there already. That's gamers.online for you guys. And now that we've seen the 4 nominees that have been voted for, just to remind you, it's Nico, Fallen, Shroud, and Cold Zero. We are going to find out who has won this category. Let's have a look. And the winner 2017 for the FPS category, it is Nico. Well done to him. And to debrief that win by him, let's go back to the couch and have a quick talk with Jeff, especially because you know these guys very well. Now, very briefly, not giving us too many details yet, but briefly, can you talk about the different players here that we've seen?
So the players we've seen here are the very top of the baskets, and it doesn't surprise me that Nico wins, because it's someone that in the span of 2 years burst out, and he's now one of the highest buyout in the history of CSGO, which a buyout is when you are under a contract on a team and you have to get this player out of the contract, you have to buy the organization, you have to pay the organization. And Nico is one of the highest buyout we've had in the CSGO scene. And this is exactly what would happen in so-called normal sport, if people don't know esport. So I think it's quite interesting to see him winning here.
Okay, well, we'll move on quickly to the RTS category with our Harstem player. So with our jury member Harstem as the member choosing the nominees. Can you tell us a bit more about Harstem, about Kevin?
Well, Kevin comes from the Netherlands, which I don't know if it somehow by some secret recipe explains why he's so cool at RTS. Because, you know, I don't know, maybe there is a special StarCraft drug he's taking or something like that. Because the way he plays, I don't think we in Europe have players that can do that amazing stuff with their hands. And he's so quick and he's so intelligent in his games. I mean, even if you don't know what StarCraft is, if you never ever played or seen a StarCraft game, you go to YouTube, you just put Hearthstone StarCraft play, and you're just amazed by what's happening. If you don't understand, you are still amazed because you can compare it to any of his competitors. And once again, I have to say, as I say for a lot of jury members, that it's a huge honor that Kevin is with us, Hearthstone is with us, because it's a very big brand, let's say, in the RTS scene. And having him here with us and having his intelligence and his experience allows us to say that the nominees that we had are exactly the people that are at the top of the top in RTS.
Perfect. Well, let's discover these 10 nominees given to us by Harstem for you guys to vote for. Let's have a look. For the RTS, the real-time strategy category, these are the 10 nominees that were submitted to you from Harstem from many different games, including StarCraft 2 and Warcraft. Here are your 4 finalists, with Neeb, Flash, Foggy and Innovation. Neeb, who is a Protoss player on StarCraft 2 and who has won the WCS winner for Austin, as well as Jönköping and Montreal. So WCS seems to be his thing. Followed by Flash, who plays Terran in StarCraft 2. Flash is an older player that we've seen in many, many tournaments over the years, especially about 6 or 7 years ago, but who has been gradually coming back and impressing us a lot. He's just been so incredibly influential that he certainly deserves his spot up there as well. Foggy is our only Warcraft player up here tonight, and he plays, or tonight or today, and he plays Night Elf in Warcraft, and he has won many of the major Warcraft tournaments in the year, and as we're all hoping for Blizzard to bring out the next Warcraft title, maybe he will be one of the most influential players for next year. Well, that will have to be seen in the next upcoming months, as we also have Innovation, our last StarCraft 2 player who plays Terran. Innovation is considered to be up amongst the gods of StarCraft 2 with an exceptional year. Once more ending up first on the Season 3 league, as well as winning the GSC versus the World competition, which was incredibly fun to watch, as well as the Star League Season 1. All of these players have been absolutely awesome. All of these players deserve to win. Let's find out first what Harstem has to say.
I'm Harstem, and I'm a GreatGamers Award jury member. We started with 10 nominees, and after a big voting round, we managed to get it down to only 4 players remaining. Number 1, Innovation, our SSL, GSL, and GSL versus the World Champion. Neeb, the 3-time WCS champion of 2017, as well as the best foreigner overall. Foggy, the Mastermind Night Elf player, who managed to get 2nd and 3rd place at the GCS over in China, something which hasn't happened in years, a European performing this well. And to finish it off, we got Flash, the winner of the Africa Star League Season 2, 3 and 4. You heard it right, that's 3 seasons in a row that he won. So good luck to those 4, and I'm very curious to see who will win in my RTS category. Of course, good luck to all the other contestants who are there as well in their respective categories. 2017 and the start of 2018 has been very good for esports. Something which has been very close to my heart was seeing StarCraft 2 at the Olympics. I think it's a huge step in the right direction, and just seeing StarCraft being played under the Olympic banner truly made my heart race and gave me some nerd chills even. So I'm definitely looking forward to some great things for esports in 2018, and I hope you guys are too. Have fun in Cannes.
Indeed, thank you very much, Harston. Thank you, Kevin. So we've had, as you said, a very, very interesting few years. 2018 has been a start to a glorious year with the Winter Olympics, but even before that, 2017 was the year where many of the previous records have been just completely shattered, and we're hoping for this current year to be even bigger on so many different levels. Now we've got our 4 finalists, and these are once more Neeb, Flash, Foggy and Innovation across games from StarCraft to Warcraft as well. Let's find out now who of these 4 players is our winner for this category. And for the real-time strategy category, gamer of this RTS category, it's going to be Neeb from the States. Indeed, well done to him for an amazing, amazing year. Let's now go and have a look at his reaction to this announcement that we made him.
I'm very happy to receive the RTS Gamer of the Year award. For the past almost 2 years now, I've been a full-time StarCraft 2 player, so it's nice to see my hard work recognized in this way. For me, I could say that StarCraft has provided me with a sense of purpose and motivation, which I think is one of the most powerful things about esports and competitions in general. So again, I'd like to thank GreatGamers for nominating me here, and all the players and fans that keep esports as a viable career path.
Indeed, thank you very much, Neeb. And to debrief briefly about this RTS category, so Neeb is a StarCraft 2 player. StarCraft may be one of the games that has put esports on the map. It started about 15 or 20 years ago to become something that people were used to watching. I know in France it has had a huge role in pushing esports, especially through videos on YouTube of replays and stuff. Guys, when did you first discover esports? What was the game that made you realize that esports was something that was a real thing?
Well, actually, the game that made me discover esports was StarCraft. It was the very old StarCraft. I think it was in 1998. I think it was Blood Wars, which was like the real add-on that made the esports actually matter. And Blizzard had this Battle.net service at the moment, which was like not exactly the Battle.net of today. It was actually the StarCraft online arena. It was really, really fun. And I wanted also to comment, because what Neeb said about projects like GreatGamers giving a kind of a credibility to the career path of esports, I think that's exactly what we're trying to do. When did you discover esports, by the way?
Will it surprise you if I would say Counter-Strike? I guess not.
No,
it
not
was
really,
actually
not really
Counter-Strike,
surprised.
Counter-Strike
The
Source.
old one, like the real.
Yeah, not the first one, the second one, Source, that was broadcasted on the television, the French television. And I used to watch some pro players watching playing some matches, and turns out I then, like a few years later, got to know them personally. So yeah, esports something.
Well, starting off esports with a bang, definitely some of those major games, some of those very influential games were the versus fighting games, and that's why we're now turning to our sports category here. And the sports category, we were very surprised because we managed to get Daigo to come and join us. And Daigo, I didn't think he'd join because he was just so huge in my mind, but you were certain of it, and he is our jury member for this category.
Well, I was not certain. I would say I was confident. Because I think GreatGamers is an amazing project, and it was confirmed by the fact that all these people agreed to work on it with us. But Daigo is probably the biggest wow that we had while discussing with jury, because this guy, I mean, on the esports scene, what concerns fighting games, this guy is just above any kind of limit of reason that you can imagine.
He's been active in the major tournaments for the last 15, 20 years now.
And he won or participated in everything that's winnable or participatable. Like, this guy is just absolutely amazing. And we can just say that when we were reaching out to our nominees and we said, okay, guys, you were being nominated by Daigo, they were like, oh my God, like, does he know I exist? They would it is really, really amazing. And I think we have, at some point, we will bring all these people together, the winners and the jury, in France this year before we prepare the next year's GreatGamer Awards. And I think Daigo's participation is something that people are really waiting. There are a lot of much more fighting games fans that we think. A lot of people play FPS games or MOBA games, but because fighting games are less advertised.
And the problem, I think, for fighting games is that there are so many different fighting games that evolve so often and so many smaller communities that despite there being a huge amount of fighting games enthusiasts and players, it's hard to identify one core community, whereas CSGO has been homogenizing this community for the last 15 years for the shooter games, for the FPS games, until recently at least. But CSGO has been an easy way of following that community, whereas fighting games have a much harder
As a sports game, it's a kind of a couch esports, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's a kind of esports that you not go to the stadium, you play, it's like a microcosm esports that you do at home. You can do real the sports games like FIFA or Street Fighter or Tekken. This is what allows you to make a real esports convention at your home. It's a kind of a 21st century LAN parties. That's what they allow to do. And thanks to people like Daigo, we know that amazing things can be done with this kind of games. And the nominees of this category are the people who do amazing things with sports games.
Let's turn now towards the video presentation of our 10 nominees, followed by the reveal of the 4 winners of the online voting. Let's have a look. So for the sports category, of course, it doesn't just include fighting games, but also includes games like FIFA and racing games. Here are the 10 nominees, and the 4 winners of the online votes are Problem X, Menard, Tokido, and Mango. And we do have, unfortunately, only fighting game players here, but not, unfortunately, in the sense that they are all amazing players in their own right. With Problem X for Street Fighter having won the EGX 2017, as well as the Street Grand Battle and the Sonic Boom in Spain. Let's remind you guys that there are many, many relatively medium-sized competitions out there, so a lot of players are taking part in a lot of competitions at the same time all over the globe, and it's really hard to find pinpoint the best players, because there's so many great players out there. The second one here is Menard, and he's always known how to pull off Birdie's ability in Street Fighter. I don't know how he does it, but he's an amazing player out there, and he's won the Capcom Cup, as well as the Latin American 3 and the Game Over tournaments, to just name a few of the ones he's won. Followed by Tokido. Tokido is the winner of the EVO 2017 championship, which is one of the biggest championships out there, and if it were just for that, Tokido would still deserve to be in this list, but it is not just for that, as he has been an outstanding player for years and has had an amazing year 2017. The final player on the list is our only Super Smash player, and it's nice to see players not from Street Fighter to come and mix things up here with Mango. Mango has won the Super Smash Con as well as the Royal Flash, as well as arriving at a top 8 and top 5 or top 3 at many, many Smash tournaments around the globe. So 4 contestants here that really have a great chance of winning this vote. We'll find out any minute now who that winner is, but before that, let's have a quick look at a message from Daigo himself before we might be seeing a message from the winner, and that's something I will need confirmation for in my ear any second now. But before that, we'll watch Daigo with his message.
こんにちは、梅原大吾です。ツイッチグローバルアンバサダー、レッドブルアスリート、ハイパー X アスリート、サイゲームスビーストとしてプロ活動をしています。今回はこのグレートゲーマーズアワードの審査員として参加します。このアワードは、ゲームの持つ競技性やエンターテインメント性がスポーツにも引けを取らないということで、そのコミュニティを盛り上げているプレイヤーを称えようという新しい試みです。長いことこの業界に関わってきた人間としてプレイヤーこういう賞を受賞できるというのはすごくいいことだと思いますし、今後この賞を受賞するということがプレイヤーの目標になればすごくいいなと思いました。
It's been amazing to be able to work with Daigo alongside him in choosing these nominees. It's amazing to have someone who comes from the industry and who has been in the industry for so long and who comes from all the way from Japan and who has taken the time to help us out in this nomination process for the Great Gamers Award. And talking of that, let's remember very briefly, who are our top four. We have got Problem X, Menard, Tokido, as well as Mango up there. We'll soon find out any second now who the winner is in this short video. And the winner of the 2017 sports category is Menard. Congratulations to you, Menard, for winning. You've had an incredible year and definitely deserve that spot or that reward. I'm going to briefly see what these guys have to say about it because you've been silent for too long. Do you guys play versus fighting games at all?
I used to play Bros Melee at home with my brother and sister. And,
one of the best.
I was the best, of course.
Of course. What about you, Igor? Do you stick to your MOBA and RTS games mainly?
Look, the problem is I really suck at fighting games, so I probably never won a single round. So at some point, I just said like, whatever, forget it. And especially when you look at people like who are professional fighting games players, you just literally don't understand how they do it. They're doing something that's beyond my comprehension. Menard is a nice guy. I mean, I'm saying that because for a professional gamer, it's not an automatic quality. And I think that the interesting part about him is that he comes from Dominican Republic, which is a country that was not much of a kind of an esports thing. And I think he's doing a great job for his country, inspiring people there. And I hope Great Gamers Awards is something that will help him become more known globally and locally also, so he can inspire more people there in his country to become professional players.
Okay, let's move on now that we have the winner for the sports category, the final category, which is Jeff's category, and this is the entertainer category. For us at Great Gamers, it felt natural to include the entertainers as we wouldn't have esport without entertainers, without casters, without interviewers, without showmen, without people making videos and showcasing the talent of these players. And this is why Jeff has helped us out with this incredibly hard task of choosing nominees. Jeff, would you want to tell us a bit more about choosing nominees once more?
Well, I think I've mentioned before, it's actually hard to pick in between all the entertainers through all the games, League of Legends, Dota, all the games that actually make esport what esport is. And for me, it was especially hard because I'm so focused on CSGO. I had to look elsewhere, which is why I asked advices on the site to people who knew and were able to give me advices. And turns out I've learned a lot of things, actually, in the people I've nominated. Turns out there's not just CSGO in esport, and there's so many more games that you want to find out. And yeah, it turns out I was able to pick 10 with the help of others because, of course, I said not really qualified for this. And not only CSGO, so that's a great thing for me.
Igor briefly mentioned earlier on that many of our players demonstrated that they were more than just players, that were actually nice and had nice qualities, and it was fun to discuss, fun to reach out to them. What do you think makes an esport player? How do you become an esport player, and what qualities do you need as a player?
To begin with, you have to want it. You really have to want it, because if you want to succeed in something, you have to practice and you have to practice. I think I've read that a few weeks ago. Success is 90% failure, and it's actually true. All the esport players you see, they've lost a couple tournaments, like million tournaments they've lost before they actually win one. So if you want to win one, you have to show some resilience. You have to try hard, and you have to keep try harding all the time. And it's the same as sport. You have to try hard. You have to practice. And that's how it works. If it's a team practice, you'll have to set up with guys. All right, so from then and then, 5 hours, 6 hours a day, we're going to practice. Not going to be fun, but if you want to be the best, that's the way. So that's something if you want to be a pro. And as for the entertainers, it would be pretty much the same, but instead of practicing, they would have to be here at events. They would have to show, they would have to shine, and they have to always improve themselves in how they are hosting the stage, just like you do. So I guess that's pretty much the point. You have to practice, and you have to be committed. You have to stay committed to your goal.
Okay, well, let's discover together, or look at together, the 10 nominees that Jeff has given us for this category, as well as the 4 that you guys voted online for. So for our final category, the entertainer, category of the Great Gamers Award. Here are the 10 nominees, including some very interesting faces, as we have not just entertainers but also game creators. But the 4 nominees here are Shox, Reckless, KNA and Olivier Morin, and the only category with 2 people from France. French bias at all here? I think so. We do have 4 amazing nominees. Shox works today for Riot and has been a lead woman in the domain of esports, showcasing players, putting into great interviews out there into the wild, and really helping us pinpoint or showcase the amazing skills that players have shown during tournaments. Followed by Reckless. Now, Reckless is an interesting case, as he started off as being a pro player, but slowly, gradually turned towards entertainment, streaming and creating videos, because he discovered it was such a great way to move towards the audience, and he has been showing amazing, amazing work out there as an entertainer. Certainly does deserve his spot up there. Followed by KNA and Olivier Morin, 2 French people who are not very necessarily well known outside of France, but definitely deserve to be here, as KNA is a versus fighting player who started off very young in her career and slowly has been building up towards the entertainer position, giving masterclass after masterclass, giving talks and presenting things to many different audiences on many various topics around the world of esports. Followed by Olivier Morin, who in France is one of the top show hosts here, and has been part of the ESWC for many years, for I believe over 10 years, and now presents a major show on French television solely about esports. So out of all these 4 nominees, we will have just one who is going to win. Let's find out who that is right now with our loot box. And the winner for the entertainer category is Shox. Well done to her for that, and we did reach out to her, and we do have a short video from Shox herself that she sent from the EU LCS. Let's have a look at that.
I'm very sad that I personally can't be there in Cannes with you guys. I'm here in the EULCS studio. We're about to kick off our show, and I just want to say that I am so happy to receive this award for Entertainer of the Year. Thank you guys so much for considering me and for giving me this award. It really is a pleasure to make these shows for all the viewers out there every single week, and I hope to keep doing it. And it's really very touching that you guys are thinking of me for this award. I hope you guys have a great day, and merci beaucoup. Au revoir.
Well, she definitely seems to be busy right now, as she's in the middle of hosting some great tournaments with Riot, and we're very, very glad and honored that she would take the time to respond to us, and love seeing her here. She definitely deserves that win. Turning back to the guys on the couch. Guys, we're arriving at the end here. Do you have any last words that you would like to mention about these 5 wonderful people who have won, and maybe even the 20 people who were nominated, and even the 50 people who were nominated by the jury members?
I think for me, I'll just have to go a bit personal here. The question is, what's esport to me and how it helped me to get out of situations? You see, a lot of people started gaming as a passion, as a hobby, and I used to put esport in my resume, and I would see people looking at me like, what's esport again? I don't know this thing. And they would probably take me for some kind of weirdo, and that used to be like 5 or 6 years ago. And nowadays, things are changing, and esport is growing, and I bet if I would put esport in my resume now, it wouldn't be the same thing. The thing for me is I dropped out of school at 17, and gaming in the first place and then esport has took me out, offered me a full-time job, which I have now today. And for all the players and all the nominees we see here, it's only resilience and the passion that they've put to the game, either CSGO or even the fighting games, or all the games that you have. That's what esport is, just a sport.
I mean, like, what can I add? I mean, like, I think esports is all about passion. It's about being professional in this passion. I mean, like, professional passion is probably what defines esport, like almost any other sport, actually, because you have to be driven, because as you were talking earlier about the training sessions when you're like there for 6 hours per day doing something that's not really fun. It's like a game that most of the people actually enjoy playing, and you're there just doing repetitive same things, but there's something inside you that just makes you do it because you want to be the best. And I think the reason why we have created GreatGamers as a project is because we want this magical drive that is inside people to be recognized as something really, really important. And that's what we're trying to do. And this is why it's important that we reach out to as many people as possible with this message. Keep doing it. You can become a big name in esports. You can become a real hero of esports, a real cyber athlete. Just keep doing it. Everybody can do it. Look at our nominees. Look at our 50 nominees. If you look attentively at who they are, all ages, all countries, all backgrounds. People come from so many different places, so many different lives. And they all have their own story to tell about how they have ascended to this esports summit.
Well, talking about ascension, we have one last reward to give out, and this is a very important reward, as it is the reward for Gamer of the Year 2017. Unfortunately, this does not take into account the entertainer category, as we wanted to focus on the gaming categories only, which are for MOBA is going to be Dendi, FPS is going to be Nico, RTS is going to be Neeb, and finally sports. As we've seen, it is going to be Menard. Out of those four, we have asked our jury members to choose just one who would be elected Gamer of the Year 2017. Let's find out who that is right now. And the Great Gamer of the Year 2017 title goes to Menard. Well done to him. Sorry, Nico. Sorry, my bad. Nico. It couldn't be esports streams without failures on live. That definitely would have to happen at least at one point. But well done, Nico. Wins that wonderful prize for the FPS category, that title of Gamer of the Year here at Great Gamers. It's been amazing having you guys for this fun short stream here. We hope you have enjoyed, and we hope you'll be able to find us again next year for more. Very briefly, guys, let's have a quick few words, because Great Gamers is not just about a reward ceremony, it's also about a community. Igor, do you want to tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, first of all, thank you about putting us in line with the Oscar ceremony and Miss Columbia. All this kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
we had to. We had to.
Yeah, it was important. The Great Gamers. Just one short thing I want to say is that Great Gamers is not just about the nominees. Great Gamers is about all gamers, because all great gamers are great. As long as you have this punch inside your heart, you are great. So we're trying to build this online community. We're going to keep building it all the year long. And before we prepare our next Great Gamers 2018, that will be given next year, we invite everyone to go to our platform, gamers.online, to register. It's free, and you can go and write articles, read articles, create a community, create a kind of attraction around the idea of becoming the best. This is something that we do, and we're really attentive to everyone who is getting who's getting out to us. So join Great Gamers in our desire to promote the values of esports.
Well, once more, Jeff, a huge thank you for being here with us and sharing your experience with us. Do you have any last words you want to share with the people watching and the people here in the audience that can?
Maybe a quick word to say thank you for inviting me, as well as hosting the show. For me, the things that started in just a message. Hey, we're hosting a gaming awards ceremony. You want to come? Yeah, sure. I'll be on it. And well, I must say, you guys did a very great job. And as Sami said before, the event is going to scale up, and hopefully I'll be here next year to see that. So thank you again.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and thank you once more to the Ville de Cannes, this town which is hosting this event with us, alongside us. Thank you to the Palais des Festivals. Thank you as well to Cooler Master for providing some awesome gear here on stage. It wouldn't be eSport without some great gear, as well as Infomax for the gear as well. Thank you, you guys. Thank you to everyone who has been following us so far. Thank you to those who have taken part online. Thank you to the people who came here physically in the audience. It's great to see you guys, and we hope to see you soon for some more gaming adventures with Great Gamers. Thanks, and see you soon.